For the very first time, Elizabeth Holmes is opening up the secret labs of Theranos.
No one has ever seen this. You are the first one.
Wow. In 2003, then 19-year-old Elizabeth Holmes dropped out of Stanford and founded Theranos with the hope of using small amounts of blood, just a few drops, to do what normally took numerous tubes.
Now, most of us have had our blood drawn at some point or another in our lives, but how much do you really know about what happens after the blood leaves your body?
Testing blood may seem like a simple process, but in fact there are numerous steps that can impact the results. For example, the tourniquet. How long's that supposed to be on? Was that alcohol or iodine used to clean my arm? What's the size of the needle? And why are there so many tubes? The anti-clotting medicine is not standardized, nor are the various reagents used to do the testing itself, let alone the machines that finally spit out the results. It is a big $75 billion industry with thousands of players controlling little pieces of the process. Theranos wants all of it.
Okay.
What resulted is this black box, a mini lab. The company says it can run up to 40 different tests on a tiny sample of blood.
We've designed it to allow for the same operations that a technologist could do in a laboratory.
Holmes believes that a finger stick, instead of a needle, will make people more likely to get their blood tested.
I'm going to do this myself. Tiffany, hello.
Hello.
That's still a needle in there.
Lancet.
A lancet, okay.
Needle has a hole. Lancet is a poke.
For what it's worth, this Theranos blood test put my cholesterol at 170. My own doctor found it to be 169 just the week before. Holmes says she wants to make this sort of testing available anywhere, anytime.
There's no reason why these can't be distributed in very, very decentralized locations.
Your home?
Yeah.
You think people's homes should have these, essentially a clinical laboratory in their own house?
I think that's a very interesting space.
But wherever the tests occur, the results need to be precise and accurate. And that's where the story of Theranos starts to crumble.
There were several labs that were tested that weren't totally accurate.
One study in the Journal of Clinical Investigation found the tests from Theranos retail testing sites in Phoenix, Arizona to have significant discrepancies. But even more damaging, an assessment from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services of their Newark, California lab, which questioned Theranos' ability to run a clinical laboratory, citing, quote, a global and long-term failure of the quality control program, and demanding they get their act together. Wall Street Journal investigative reporter John Carreyrou first broke that story last October.
Theranos wasn't able to do so to the agency's satisfaction, so the agency has now decided it's going to shut that lab down, and it's going to ban Elizabeth Holmes from the blood testing industry for at least 2 years.
Holmes has until September 5th to appeal, but in her first interview since the CMS decision, she insists the technology was never to fault for the erroneous results. Instead, she blames it on flawed operations and personnel.
At the highest level, we didn't have the right leadership in the laboratory, and we didn't have the implementation of the quality system in terms of procedures and the associated documentation to ensure that we were realizing the quality standards that we hold ourselves to.
Of course, in the middle of all this are patients whose health depended on Theranos for accurate results.
There's this man who goes by the initials RC right now in Arizona, who is suggesting that the lab results that he got from Theranos were not accurate, and it led to him having a heart attack. Based on what you know, is it possible that what he's saying is true? Could he have gotten a lab result that was so askew that he didn't act on it, and then a month later he ended up having a heart attack?
I'm not the lab director, and so...
I know, but you're the CEO and founder of the company. I mean, this is as serious as it gets.
What I know is that I've put the best people in place to be able to investigate every aspect of this and ensure that we meet the quality standards that we hold ourselves to, and I know they're doing that.
The biggest problem was going live with blood tests that didn't work or that worked only part of the time.
Theranos is under the microscope of the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Securities and Exchange Commission about whether it misled investors about its technology.
I'm a doctor, I'm a scientist. It takes me some time to understand all that you are talking about. I'm not sure that I frankly still understand all of it. The people who are putting in tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars fully understand Theranos.
They understood the I mean, I'm trying to think of the best way to answer that. The reasons they invested in the first place, right? These are sophisticated investors who chose to come into a startup company based on our intellectual property, based on our patent portfolio, based on our mission, based on the people who were here, based on what we were working to do, right?
One of the headlines was $9 billion company down to zero. First of all, is that accurate?
No. But the headlines are not always accurate, as you know.
But when you read stuff like that, though,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? And your investors and your board members are reading those same things.
Those articles were focused on me personally, and I did not start this company because I was interested in or worried about, that.
But for now, Holmes and Theranos are hell-bent on gaining back the significantly eroded public trust and proving the product they have to offer is the real deal.
It's probably the most important question I think anybody who's watching has about this. Does it work?
Yes,
You're confident in that?
I am confident in that. Yeah.
Dr.
No,
Sanjay
it's good.
Gupta, CNN,
I know.
Palo Alto, California.
I'm really excited to